Hello everyone. Welcome to today's session, which is on what are the different specializations in MBA. So most of you preparing for CAT have the objective in mind and going for an MBA program, and some of you have already cracked CAT and are awaiting your GDPI stage. So respect to where you are at the GDPI stage or where you're looking at cracking CAT in the upcoming year, it's very important that you have in mind what are the different specializations that MBA has to offer so you can take a more informed decision regarding your career choices ahead. So keeping that in mind, we've had the session on different specializations in MBA. It is brought to you by me, Nilanjan Dutta, a Cat 100 percentiler in one of the topmost educators on Unacademy as well as Unacademy Plus for the CAT and the MBA exams segment. This is a brief introduction about myself, and I want to give the opportunity to inform all of you who are preparing for CAT-20 about the live classes that we have for CAT-20, including the DI live classes. Batch 1 has already started. It's available at unacademy.com/plus. In the description link below, you'll find the link to my Unacademy channel, where if you subscribe, you'll get notifications whenever these classes are happening. And you need to be part of the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription. To be part of the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription, all you need to do is go to unacademy.com/plus, select the 12-month subscription plan and subscribe. It's already 58% off on a 12-month subscription. And further, you can get additional discounts if you use the discount code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing. Note there is no space in the discount code Nilanjan Dutta that is to submit while subscribing. Also, in the month of March, we are launching what is the Quants Toppers batch for all of you aspiring to be a CAT topper in 2020 and want to be mentored by previous year CAT toppers. This is your chance to be part of the Toppers batch, where I also will be taking live classes along with other CAT toppers. So all of these are part of a single subscription, the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription. So all you need to do is select the 12-month subscription plan. Here in the referral code section, enter the code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing. Alternatively, you can enter the code Nilanjan.yt while subscribing. Either of the codes will work and will give you additional discounts on subscribing to Unacademy Plus. So on that note, let's get started with what are the different specializations that you can look forward to in your MBA program. All of you, I will request you all, whatever questions you have regarding the MBA specializations, you can use the chat window to ask those queries using the live chat or the comment section so that this can be a more interactive session. So when we talk of different specializations, some of the broad options that you have are as follows: finance, marketing, operations, HR, and systems. These are probably 5 of the most broader specializations you have, and in the other section, probably you can have certain colleges might have something on strategy, some colleges might have something on economics, and so on, and there could be a few other ones as well, but the broad areas are systems, HR, operations, marketing, and finance. Otherwise, the most popular in the regular MBA programs are definitely finance, followed by marketing. So let us look at specializations one by one and see which kind of aspirants are suited for which domain. So finance is one of the most sought after disciplines, especially because some of the finance jobs are relatively high paying. Finance jobs are supposedly high paying, so that is why they're definitely on one of the top of the radar, and at the same time they are something which is office based, so it's a desk based job, and it's not something where you need to travel too much like in sales. Yes, you might have to go and meet your clients, but then it's more of a professional setup that you'll be traveling in. So, which is why finance is a very in demand job. It's also very high paying and rewarding job, but at the same time, it comes with it being a very taxing job, because most of the finance jobs after B school involve a 12-hour to 14-hour work day. The 12 to 14-hour work day, 5 days a week, could be something that is very, very taxing for most of you. So only those of you who are really ready to struggle it out and be part of a 12 to 14 day life, and preferably be in a city like Mumbai. Yes, following Mumbai, you also have options in Bangalore and Delhi, but the most prominent city, if you want to make a career in finance, is definitely Mumbai. So if you're ready for Mumbai, ready for a taxing life of 12 to 14 hours, ready for a high paying job, then only finance makes it. Along with that, a lot of skills that you require, you need to be good with numbers. Numbers, as in, you need to be good with calculations. There's a lot of quantitative stuff involved, and a lot of quantitative decision making involved to take a career in finance. You need to be able to understand data patterns and charts and be able to identify what are the expected trends happening. So a lot of the roles that you have in finance could vary, with investment banking, which is the most sought after. Then you have things like people working in the M&A divisions, where you're advising clients on which companies to acquire, or maybe if it's an internal firm, you're deciding on which company if you acquire, it would result in the greatest of synergies. Corporate finance, which is again an internal finance role, which is mostly dealing with the M&A part as well as the core fin functions. Portfolio management, where basically you are looking after the investors' funds. Trading roles, which are very high paying but very high risk profile, because remember, you're dealing with the individuals who've deposited money in your company, so it's very important that you make your buy and sell calls wisely. And of course, you have the core banking roles. Within banking, other than the above roles like trading, treasury, and so on, you also have things like corporate banking and retail banking, where basically you're trying. This is more of the corporate and retail banking, is more of a little bit of a sales cum finance role in the banking space. Corporate banking is more where you deal with corporate institutions, whereas retail banking is more where you deal with individual clients, and you guide them on how to expend or how to spend their portfolio money. So finance, definitely one of the most sought after roles. Interesting, especially if you are in this space, it's pretty interesting. People in the banking, corporate or retail space, they are the ones which are more target driven. The one above is not exactly target driven, but at the same time it's very important because they're dealing with people's money, and you need to take in some various good calls. It's definitely a high risk profile. If it's not working out, if your calls are not working out as expected, it's not going to, you're dealing with, it could lead to a backlash. So definitely it's a high risk profile. But remember, there's something, if you're really good with numbers, you're really good with insights and data and DI and so on, there's something where you can look forward to making your career. So any questions, anybody on finance? Next, let's move on to the concept of marketing. So this is probably the most important specialization in MBA, because in most of the B schools, most of the roles that come for placements are in the S&M, that is sales and marketing. Finance do not have much target-based job. Finance, only if you are in the corporate or retail banking, it's target-based. In the rest of the spaces, it is not so much target-based. But the problem is, these jobs are really hectic. It's not that they are target-driven, but they are really hectic. IB, M&A, Corp Fin, portfolio trading and treasury and so on. Project finance is another one. So again, these are all relatively hectic roles. So if you're ready for a 12 to 14 hour life, then only it makes sense to look at a career in finance. Sales and marketing dominates the placements in any of the B schools, so that is why marketing is something which everybody must take seriously. So marketing can lead to, initially for first few years, FMCG companies. So they hire you for sales profiles. Along with FMCG, the other part is a lot of these product-based companies, they hire you for product marketing roles. And of course, you have startups which are hiring these days for business development roles. All three roles are very prominent in numbers in most of the B school campuses across the country. So sales and marketing is something which you must. In fact, marketing is a specialization which is advised, or at least 90% of students in a batch should go for marketing as one of the specializations at least. If you're going for one of the two, one of them should be marketing, because this is where most of the jobs lie. The other good thing is, if you are in a sales profile, then the pay is usually higher. The pay is the highest probably in B schools after this investment banking and the top finance jobs is probably in the sales space. Now somebody wondering why sales? Well, remember this, that the foundation of marketing lies with sales. So all of you are looking for a career in marketing, please be prepared for struggling out the first 3 to 5 years in sales before moving towards a relatively more marketing based profile, something like brand management and so on. Those will happen later on, or trade promotes, trade management and so on. Those will happen later on. For starters, be prepared for a more core sales role. Now, who is marketing suited for? So, sales and marketing are suited for people who are travelers, firstly, because the biggest challenge in sales and marketing is you have to travel to various rural areas and so on. Why rural areas? Because if, let's say, HUL or ITC wants to expand their presence across India, what do you do? Target rural markets first. So, you should definitely be a traveler to do well in sales. Second thing, you should be something who can live life outside comfort zone. Unlike finance, which is a desk job, this is outside your comfort zone, traveling a lot, so definitely be ready for that kind of a life. The third thing, you will be interacting with non-sophisticated people on a regular basis. And if you're interacting with non-sophisticated people, it is not an easy job for most of us. So only if you're fine with interacting with people who are like retailers, shopkeepers and so on, who are not so educated, then only it makes sense to make a career in sales and marketing. The good thing is, you struggled the initial first 3 to 5 years. After that, you can get into roles like brand management, advertisements and so on, which are more high-end roles. Similarly, if you're in the business development sector in startups, you have to be prepared for ground level work. For example, should be prepared to meet up with partners, be it driver partners and driver owners if you're in a company like Uber, Ola, be it meeting up with restaurant partners if you're working in a company like Swiggy and Zomato, be it meeting up with educators if you're working in an ed tech company in the sales and marketing division. But the ultimate thing is you have to be able to grow your business. You have to be ready for doing ground level work. So sales and marketing is not about glamorous work in offices, not at least not in the initial 3 to 5 years. It's about exploring what India as a country wants, and that means there's a lot of travel and so on. Yes, sales and marketing is a very target-driven, stressful job. So a lot of targets involved, there's a lot of stress involved in this kind of job. And the biggest thing is the pay is good, but the most important component of the pay is that a fixed component is the same as other jobs. It's just that the variable is very high. Why? To incentivize you to put in that extra effort to sell. So any questions? Anybody on sales and marketing? Next we move on to operations. The thing about operations is there are hardly any opportunities in operations in most of the B schools except for a few selective B schools. If you're looking for a career in operations, it's better to go to selective B schools. Unlike finance and sales marketing, which happens in most B schools, it's only in few B schools in IIT. B schools like IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, and the other IITs, and maybe a couple of others like IML and all, which are good in operations, but the rest of the B schools are not that great as far as opportunities in operations are concerned. So these are mostly related to roles pertaining to things like supply chain and so on. So only those of you who have mechanical engineering or one of the related background like chemical and so on, the core disciplines of engineering background, and after that you worked as well in an operations or a supply chain role for at least 2 years, they should only be looking at an operations specialization. Why? Because ultimately the companies that are offering operations role would prefer somebody from a core engineering background and at least 2 years of experience in operations. Otherwise you would not really be preferred for such kind of roles. So it makes sense only for such people to aspire for a career in operations. Here you would be looking at the supply chain process, demand supply alignment, factory based operations as well, factory supervision and so on, production line operations management. So those are the things that you would be looking at, including things like logistics and so on. So keeping that in mind, it's very important that you have a genuine awareness about what happens there. Pre-MBA, if you have worked in somewhere, then only go for a career in operations. Otherwise, it's better to go for something like marketing and finance, which does not require too much of pre-exposure. Sales and marketing is something that doesn't require at all any pre-exposure. Finance, if you have a bit of knowledge, that would be good. I would say avoid operations in that case. If you don't have experience in mechanical, worked in IT, avoid operations. The next role is that of HR. So HR is something which is more in demand if you're joining specific programs like Excel HR, if you're joining TIS HR and so on, if you're joining FCHMRD, So these selective programs, if you're joining, it's really, really good. Even some of the other B schools like MDI HR, XMB HR are really, really good. So if you're joining specific programs for HR, they would be good. Otherwise, not that great. In regular B schools, placements, there are hardly any HR company, maybe one or two only comes. But if you're going for these HR specific programs, then the HR opens up a lot of avenues. So HR could include roles. It's not just recruitment. Please me correct this notion. HR is not just about recruitment. Recruitment is one important part, but there are other roles like HR BP, which is HR in the regular business process that are there. Then you have roles like compensation and benefits, where you structure how to design the compensation of people in your company vis-a-vis that of competitors. Then you have things like talent management, which is another important role. You also have roles like IR, which is basically HR in the factory workers. So these are the key roles that you need to be prepared for as far as an HR is concerned. Remember, HR is not just about recruitment. The good thing about HR is, probably if you're looking for a relaxed life post your MBA, HR is probably the one domain which can give a relatively relaxed life compared to the other domains. Also, HR is something where people from all backgrounds can make it, and especially those of you who are from non-engineering, non-commerce background, people from arts background, this is a very, very good avenue to do an MBA in. HR is not a target-based job. HR is an easy job, so it's not really target-based. So anybody who wants a chilled out lifestyle after MBA, HR is the career option that you can look at. The other option is systems. Systems is not a very popular specialization. It's there in few colleges and very few people take it up. So this is more of related to IT. So if you have if you have experience, again, this is only useful for people who have experience of at least greater than 2 years in IT. Otherwise, going for systems doesn't really make sense. Look, Rosie, in India, hiring employees is not a challenge. Why? Because we have too many people and less jobs. So hiring people, if somebody gives you a target to hire 50 people, it is very easy thing to do. It's not really something which is a challenging target, because you'll always have 5,000 applicants who want to apply for that position. Whereas in sales, if you're asked to sell a product, it's very difficult to increase the sales, because that is not in your hands. Hiring people is easy in your hands, because people are unemployed and people need to join in. Most of the people who go into these can end up in roles like product management in tech companies. They can get into IT consulting roles. They can get into program management roles in IT and so on. Note, most of these roles, they do not require to go for a specialization in systems. Even if you've gone for a traditional marketing or operations or finance, you can get into these roles, which is why people usually don't get into systems. It's more important that you have experience of a couple of years in IT that is more important. Other than that, I said you have options like strategy, economics, and so on. So basically, that is where if you take a certain number of electives from strategy or certain number of electives from economics and so on, you get a certain amount of credits, and according to the number of credits that you've earned, you might get an additional specialization in one of these disciplines. So any questions on any of these specialization systems, HR, operations, marketing, finance? Any questions, anybody? HR and systems are the most relaxed ones. The most stressful is probably sales and marketing, followed by finance. In terms of hours, finance. In terms of nature of work, sales and marketing are the most stressful. Most chilled out, HR, and then followed by systems. So any questions, anybody? So finally, I'll come to this thing. A lot of you have this confusion that what is consulting then? If consulting is not a specialization. So consulting is not something which is an MBA specialization. So none of the B schools offer you a specialization in consulting. But consulting is something which is more of a job role. So just like finance, marketing, and so on, one of the most prominent type of job that visits all the campuses is consulting. Consulting comprises of various domains, and that requires a good understanding of everything. For example, finance knowledge is important for consulting, marketing knowledge is important for consulting, HR bit of knowledge is important for consulting, system knowledge is important for consulting, operations knowledge is important for consulting. So consulting is something which is an amalgamation of various kind of job roles, understanding various kind of industries as well. In most of the other careers, you would be limited to a particular industry. Here, you'll be spread across various industries. There's also a lot of strategy involved in this domain and competitor benchmarking. So consulting is where for a particular company, you're looking to advise various type of clients in various other industries. So consulting is a mix of all of them. There's no particular specialization called consulting, but it will be involving knowledge of all the domains. Those of you who want to get into consulting, the ideal combination is out of finance, marketing, and operations, take any two. But given that marketing is the most dominated option in campus, go for one of marketing plus either finance and operations, whichever suits you, go for it. In case you don't have operations background, it's a straightforward choice. Marketing and finance. If you have operations background and you want to keep the operations option open, you can go for marketing plus operations as well. Either one of them can help you land up something in consulting. Consulting is again something which is a little bit of a hectic job. But again, the good thing is it's a desk-based job. Desk-based, there's also traveling involved in consulting. But the good thing about this is sophisticated traveling, professional clients, unlike sales and marketing, which is very ground level work. So those of you who are fine with hectic life plus a bit of traveling can look at a career in consulting. Do not avoid doing MBAs like healthcare management and public relation and event management and so on, sports management. Avoid doing in those unless you're really interested in a particular domain. For example, if you really want to make a career in sports management and with franchisees, then you can go for something like sports management. If you really want to do a career in event management, then only go for it. but in general, those are avoidable categories. Gentle reminder, CAT-20 20 live classes have started. So do make sure that you're being part of these Ultimate Scope with Unacademy Plus courses and giving yourself a plus 2025 marks boost in CAT 2020. To be a part of it, subscribe to the Unacademy Plus CAT subscription. You have the 12-month subscription option, which is available. That is already 58% off. Plus, if you use the discount code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing, you'll get it at an even cheaper price. Alternatively, you can also use the code Nilanjan.yt. Either of them will give you additional discounts on subscribing to Unacademy Plus. .yt, the YT stands for YouTube, the initials. So Nilanjan.yt is also something you can use as your discount code. Also, in the month of March, we're starting with the toppers batch for CAT 2020. So do make sure being part of it, where I'll be taking the quants live classes. So how do you get a subscription? You choose subscription plan here. In the referral code section, you can either enter Nilanjan Dutta or Nilanjan.yt and click on apply. It will automatically apply with a discount and you can then check out from there. Remember, there's no space between Nilanjan and Dutta in the code. So hope this session gave you some insights on what are the specializations after MBA. Do make sure to share this video with all your friends and fellow CATs and MBA aspirants. On that note, thank you everybody and happy learning.